All rise.
Good evening, everyone. I'll call the City Council to order at 8 o'clock on Monday, April 25th, 2022. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we have 25 items on this evening's agenda, and I will start by asking the clerk to please read agenda item number 1.
Minutes of the City Council meeting, April 11th, 2022.
Council Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file.
Motion made and second to accept and place on file the minutes. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Is approved. So filed 9-0. Agenda item number 2.
Now is the time for the continued public hearing on the petition of New Singular Wireless PCS LLC, DBA AT&T, for a grant of location for one small cell wireless facility to be located on an existing pole within the public right-of-way in the vicinity of 241 Forest Street, order number 22-100, 8558A.
Okay, this public hearing will be taken up in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, starting with the applicant, then questions from the public, public speaking in opposition, and then questions from the City Council. So I'll ask the applicant to come on up. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Michael Dolan from the law firm of Brown Rudnick in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, New Singular Wireless, otherwise known as AT&T Wireless. My client has a gap in coverage in the area near 241 Forest Avenue and is proposing to install a small cell antenna facility, which is a small antenna on the top of an existing utility pole on that street. Minimal visual impact, and I believe our application has been reviewed internally by the DPW here in Marlborough, and I understand that there may be a referral out of here to committee, so I can answer any further questions at that time.
All right, thank you, Mike. Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Any members of the public speaking in favor? Any members of the public speaking in favor? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Are there any questions from the public? Questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll close that part of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I'll close that part of the public hearing. Comments or questions from the city councilors? Any comments or questions from the city councilors? Comments or questions from the city councilors? Going 3 times. Comments or questions from the city councilors? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. This is in public service. We have the agreement to extend the date to June 28th, but I'm sure the public service chair will take it up before then, Mike. So with that, the public hearing is closed. Thank you. Agenda item number 3.
Communication from the mayor regarding the acceptance of Geikus Lane as a public way, order number 22-100, 8553.
Councilor Brown.
I move to accept and place on file.
Motion's made and second to accept and place on file the communication. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is filed. Agenda item number 4.
Communication from the mayor regarding grant acceptance in the amount of $3,000 from the Sudbury, Assabet, and Concord Rivers Cooperative, awarded to the Conservation Commission to be used to control the invasive oriental bittersweet at Galone Park.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve the grant, please.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the grant. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The grant is approved 9-0. Agenda item number 5.
Communication from the mayor regarding grant acceptance in the amount of $51,885 from the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, awarded to the Health Department to be used for clinic staffing, supplies, case investigation, and COVID-19 preventative messaging.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve the grant.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the grant. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The grant is approved 9-0. Agenda item number 6.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $698,083.18 for the Department of Public Works, which moves funds from various accounts to electricity to cover the cost of higher usage during COVID-19 and overtime to cover costs in overtime due to hydrant flushing and water main breaks.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee, please.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to the Finance Committee. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Is referred to Finance 9-0. Agenda item number 7.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $44,000 for the city clerk's office, which moves funds from various accounts to capital outlay voting equipment for the purchase of poll pads to be used during elections.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the city clerk and his wonderful team for having a surplus in the account, so he's moving accounts around. I know the clerk has informed us on this process as well going forward with this transfer. My motion is to approve this evening. So motion to approve the transfer, please.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the transfer of $44,000 to purchase the poll pads. Is there any discussion on the motion? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Question to the city clerk. With the poll pads, is there still going to be paper ballots? What's the...
Yeah, no, we just need a suspension of the rules to allow the city clerk to speak, that's all.
That's fine. Do I have to request for a suspension of the rules?
Yep.
Okay. May I request suspension of the rules for the city clerk to speak?
Motion has been made and seconded to suspend the rules for the city clerk to speak. All those in favor? Opposed? The floor is yours, Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As far as clarification, Mr. City Clerk, the poll pads, is that going to affect the way the ballots are being, is it still going to be paper ballots, or what's going to happen?
The poll pads will be used for the voting list. Ballots will still be paper and will be still be used in the same way that we have done it all the time. The poll pad is now going to look to replace the paper voting list, which will make it a little bit more efficient and effective when voters come in, as opposed to flipping through hundreds of pages trying to find your name. It's going to be a touch of a couple of buttons, and then they're going to record that you voted. You'll still be handed a paper ballot and still mark it in the same way, and it'll go through the machine in the same fashion.
Okay, so the audit trail of them registering their vote is going to be all electronic, but the ballot itself will be paper.
Correct, and we will still maintain a paper voting list in case there is any problems.
Which
with
is
the
just a
machines.
printout of the...
Correct, the machine, but we will also have a paper voting list at each precinct in
case
case of
something
power failure or
happens.
something like that.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Anyone else, any other comments on the motion to approve the $44,000 transfer? All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved 9-0.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 8.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $75,000, which moves funds from economic development to MEDC to replenish the economic development toolbox.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Director Harris and her team did inform us on April 14th in the Finance Committee meeting that this would be coming before us. I know we did have a discussion that evening. My motion is to approve the transfer of $75,000, please.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the $75,000 from the Economic Development Fund to the MEDC Toolbox Fund. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved 9-0. Agenda item number 9.
Communication from the mayor regarding the reappointment of Joseph Bezal to the Council on Aging Board for a 4-year term to expire on May 4th, 2026, and the appointment of Zella Haish to the Council on Aging Board for a 4-year term to expire May 4th, 2026.
Councilor Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to move to personnel.
Motion's been made and seconded to refer to the Personnel Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Is referred to Personnel 9-0. Agenda item number 10.
A communication from the mayor regarding a proposed amendment to the City Code, Chapter 125, Section 6, Salary Schedule, to amend the salary for the sealer of weights and measures.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee, please, and to advertise, please.
Motion's been made and seconded to refer to the Finance Committee and to advertise. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm hoping that this is the only one that needs to be corrected. I'm wondering if there's any other, salary adjustments that need to be done to compensate for the new minimum wage. Aside from this one, do you know if there's any?
Well, I just, from reviewing the budget, I know there's been money added to the Recreation Department's budget to increase some of the salary line items there, but if there's something that's not correct, I'm sure the mayor will come down and adjust it, but this might be the start of something as they start going through those, but that's...
Right. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, Councilor Doucette. Any other discussions on the motion? Again, the motion to refer to finance and to advertise. All those in favor? Opposed? is approved to send to finance and to advertise 9-0. Agenda item number 11.
Communication from the mayor regarding the fiscal year 2023 budget recommendation in the amount of $181,260,899, which represents a 4.18% increase over the fiscal year 2022 appropriation, and a copy of the budget is available for viewing in the city clerk's office and on the website.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee and to set a public hearing for May 9th, 2022, and also to inform the councilors, to remind them that the council does have 45 days to act on the budget, approve, reduce, or reject. And we will be having our Finance Committee meeting scheduled for May 2nd, May 4th, May 5th, starting at 6 p.m., so we all can do our research and have all the questions we want to go forward with our department heads. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Irish. So there's a motion to refer to the Finance Committee and set a public hearing for May 9th. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved, 9-0, to refer to Finance and set a public hearing for May 9th. Agenda item number 12.
Communication from the mayor regarding the veto of City Council Orders 21/22-100, 8402B3, and 2122-100, 8402A2, relative to proposed order to authorize the purchase of 100 Lock Drive and the transfer request in the amount of $5,092,666.66.
If I could ask the city clerk to read the letter, please.
Honorable President Ossing and councilors, Solicitor Grossfield has informed me of some ambiguities with the actions of the City Council. Therefore, I am hereby notifying you of my veto of City Council Order Numbers 2122-100, 8402B3 and 2122-100, 8402A2. The first order was sent down on September 23, 2021, for the City Council meeting that took place on September 27th. The order was to authorize the purchase of 100 Lock Drive for the purchose of building a fire station with a transfer request in the amount of $5,092,666.66 from the stabilization account. On December 2nd, 2021, I sent down a proposed amended transfer clarifying the funding source based on conversations I had with Council President Ossing. The order did not appear as I sent it and is confusing to say the least. I have been clear on the need to move forward without any additional constraints. Excuse me. Even if I were to support the council's decision, I could not move forward based on the concerns voiced by our city solicitor. I feel the initial order that was sent should be sufficient. Based on the actions of the city council, I will determine whether based on the actions of the city council, will determine whether I resubmit the original order. Please contact my office with any questions. Sincerely, Arthur G. Vigent, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the mayor's letter indicates that the solicitor says there's ambiguities, but he doesn't specify what those ambiguities are. We also have a veto, which has to lay on the table. So I'm going to move to postpone the city council action on the mayor's veto until May 9th. And I'm additionally asking that the solicitor provide written clarification regarding the ambiguity of the orders and suggested wording to resolve the ambiguity so we have it for the May 9th meeting.
Motion's made and second to lay the veto on the table till or postpone till our May 9th meeting, and then ask the solicitor to provide us written documentation on just what those ambiguities are, and if there's any suggested wording to clarify those ambiguities. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved, 9-0. Agenda item number 13.
Communication from Solicitor Jason Grossfield regarding a request for executive session to discuss litigation strategy relative to WP Marlborough Mass Owner LLC versus the Marlborough City Council.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to move to have this agenda item be at the end of our agenda so we can go into executive session and not have to come back.
Motion made and second to move agenda item number 13 to after agenda item number 25. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? It is approved, 9-0, to move to the end of the agenda. Agenda item number 14.
Petition from Massachusetts Electric and Verizon New England to install a new pole and remove the old pole and install underground cable for city work around the pump station on Cullinane Drive.
Councilor Brown.
I move to refer to public service and set public hearing for May 9th, 2022.
Motion's made and seconded to refer to public service and set a public hearing for May 9th. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? It is referred to public service with a public hearing on May 9th, 9-0. Agenda item 15.
Application for taxi livery license from Nathan, oh boy, Sabublia, DBA Inevitable Home Care, Inc., to operate a livery service with one vehicle at 97 Neal Street.
So apologies on the name.
Yes, my apologies on the
That's
name.
okay. Councilor Brown.
I move to refer to public service.
Motion made and seconded to refer the taxi license request to the Public Services Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Is referred to Public Service 9-0. Agenda item 16.
Communication from Attorney Brian Falk on behalf of Post Road Realty LLC regarding request to modify the bedroom mix at the Green District on Cimarano Drive.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unless somebody has an objection and would like this to be referred to Urban Affairs, I think we all understand from Attorney Falk's letter what the idea is, what they're changing, and that it is simply a minor change that the building commissioner can approve. So I'm going to move to accept the communication and indicate that the commissioner is allowed to have this be approved as a minor change.
Motion made and seconded to file the communication, and the City Council acknowledge that they agree that it is a minor change. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Orm.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we file, this obviously increases the bedroom count, which is going to increase the amount of residents that can occupy. So I don't see it as a minor change, but then again, I might be speaking for myself, but whenever you increase bedroom count, you increase the opportunity for additional residents. In my view, that means more fire protection, more police protection, possibly even more school needs. So I would question the need to do this. You know, I understand people want to use the second bedroom as their office, but I'm still concerned that may go away someday and a bigger family may move in. So I am concerned that they're increasing the bedroom count.
Thank you, Councilor Orm. Anyone else? On the motion to file the correspondence and the council acknowledge that it is a minor change. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. My math correct? 7-2. Agenda item 17.
Minutes of boards, commissions, and committees.
Mr. President?
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file the minutes of the boards, commissions, and committees.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file all the minutes. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? The minutes are approved, 9-0. Agenda item number 18.
Claims.
Mr. President?
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Motion to send the claims to the legal department.
Motion made and seconded to send the claims to the legal department. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The claims are sent to the legal department, 9-0. Reports of committees. Who wants to go first? Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance Committee met on April 14, 2022. We had a few items that evening on the agenda. I will start with order number 1, which is order number 22-100-8551. Statement of interest for Marlborough Public Schools to the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA. Relative to the Richards School, school officials discussed the statement of interest and the importance of planning for future space needs. The statement is an annual requirement, and if not successful this year, will be submitted again. Motion by Councilor Dumas, second by the chair. The committee voted 4-0 to recommend approval. Next item was order number 22-100-8567. MEDC FY 2023 operating budget in the amount of $589,691. Meredith Harris and Linda Martins addressed the MEDC budget with councilors. It was noted as well that the toolbox funds were not included in the operational budget and would be funded by a future transfer, which did happen this evening, submitted by the mayor. On a motion by Councilor Dumas, second by the chair, the committee voted 5-0 to recommend approval of the MEDC FY 2023 operating budget. Next item was order number order number 100-8536, 36A, request for appropriation of $500,000 for the purpose of paying the cost of reconstruction and making extraordinary repairs to the Sligo Hill water tank. DPW Commissioner Duvall explained funding for the companion of $1 million maintenance program for the tanks being funded by the ARPA funds, and the program includes all of the city water tanks. Commissioner Duvall stated in the future of recurring budget requests will be required to maintain the tanks. This bond will refurbish the Sligo Hill water tank, which is in need of extraordinary repairs. Council Roby was concerned that the ARPA funds were not being used to fund the entire project and reminded councilors that the bond does require 8 votes. On a motion by Council Orem, second by the chair, the committee voted 3 in favor and 2 opposed. Council Dumas and Perlman was in opposition to recommend approval. Next item was order number 22-100-8536B. Request for appropriation in the amount of $1 million for the purpose of paying the cost of the water main construction or reconstruction. Commissioner Duvall addressed the water main improvements. Council Orem questioned whether ARPA funds were considered in place of the bonds and replied in a negative. Motion by Council Orem to approve the bonds, seconded by the chair. The committee voted 1-4 in favor. This does not carry and remains in committee. Next item was order number 22-100-8536C. Request for appropriation in the amount of $5,175,000 for the purpose of paying the cost of street construction. Commissioner Duvall and City Engineer DePercio addressed the street construction bond. On a motion by Council Orem, seconded by the chair, the committee voted 5-0 to approve the bond for street construction and reconstruction. Next item was order number 22-100-8536D. Request for a transfer in the amount of $1,448,100 from undesignated funds, free cash, to various departmental capital requests, including the following capital items: fire squad truck, refurbishing pools, Evergreen Cemetery expansion projects, school havoc upgrades, Reservoir Street bump out, and public works equipment. DPW managers addressed the DPW items on the transfer. The proposed new F-550 truck with the Watergate valve is especially a welcome by the DPW to allow the staff to mechanized means to better manage water gates. It is specialized for the use by the Department of Public Works and will not be used for plowing. A motion by Councilor Dumas, second by the chair. The committee voted 5-0 to approve the transfer of $1,448,100. Motion to adjourn, and we were adjourned at 8:35 p.m. And I will be asking for one suspension this evening for the order number 22-100-8551, statement of interest for the Marlborough Public Schools, please.
Motion made and seconded for suspension for order number 22-100-8551 on the Marlborough Public Schools Statement of Interest. All those in favor of the suspension? Opposed? The suspension is approved. Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to move the recommendation of committee to approve the statement of interest for the Marlborough Public Schools to the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA. Thank you, Mr.
Motion made and seconded to approve the recommendation of the Finance Committee, which is for the statement of interest for the Marlborough Public Schools. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved, 9-0. Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. One more item. I'd like to ask for a suspension of the rules to bring in to accept the communication from the mayor involving a tax increment financing agreement, please.
There's been a motion to suspend the rules to accept the communication from the mayor on the tax increment financing package. All those in favor of the suspension? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I make 8. 8-1. The suspension is approved. 8-1. Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee, please.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the Finance Committee. All those in favor? Opposed? It's approved 8-1 to go to finance. Council Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Urban Affairs Committee met on Wednesday, April 20th. We had one item on our agenda. Order number 22-108-542, referencing order number 13-100-5456B, an application for a modification of a special permit from 587 Bolton Street Incorporated to allow for an outdoor seating, a gazebo, and a bar area at 587 Bolton Street. Mr. Stenoris explained his plan for the property and answered questions, clarifying the additional seating would be for seasonal use and the food would come from the restaurant. No outside food would be allowed on the premises. The alcohol would come from the restaurant to the bar area and be brought back inside each night. And there would be temporary outside washing stations approved by the Board of Health. The chair read through the comments from the department heads and then through the conditions of the draft application for modification of the special permit approved in 2013. Councilor Navin moved to approve the draft special permit with the following additions to be added in as the solicitor's office sees fit. Number 1, the applicant shall comply with the Conservation Commission order of conditions approved April 15th. Number 2, additional planting and landscaping and ongoing maintenance around the gazebo and the bar area are required to enhance the appearance of this new facility. Conservation officer shall approve the plantings and landscaping. This condition shall have a 2-year look back from the date of occupancy. And number 3, the applicant shall install no smoking signs at all outdoor spaces where food and/or beverages are served to the public by employees. The motion was seconded and the vote carried 4-0 with Councilor Landers absent. To recommend approval of the amended modification. The solicitor's office will try to have this on our agenda. It was not on, but everybody did receive a packet today with a letter. I'm going to move to suspend to accept the assistant solicitor's letter and the packet in proper form.
Motion's made and seconded to suspend the rules to accept the communication from the assistant solicitor on the special permit for Bolton Street Tavern. All those in favor of suspending the rules? Suspension is approved, 9-0. Councilor Roby.
Move to accept and place on file Assistant Solicitor McManus's letter, and then to move the recommendation of the committee to approve the grant of a special permit and ask the clerk to read the conditions.
On the first portion, on the motion to accept and place on file the communication from the solicitor, any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? The solicitor's communication is filed, 9-0. On the motion to approve the special permit, is there any discussion on the motion? Councilor Orem.
And since Councilor Navin's not here, he was, as well as many people were here for the discussion. It didn't make it as a condition, but there was discussion on parking off-site. So because we don't want to see parking on neighbors' streets that may congest it late at night. So the owner of the facility did indicate, and it's noted under number 8 of the discussion, that he was going to manage traffic and assured us that. I know it didn't make it as a condition, but I just want to make that point for the record that no off-street parking was indicated by the owner.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Orem. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to read the findings, or conditions, rather.
The City Council, pursuant to its authority under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, and the City of Marlborough zoning ordinance, Section 650-17 and Section 650-18A31, and generally Section 650-59, grants to the applicant a modification to a special permit for construction of a covered outdoor seating area with a bar gazebo and a sports area and fire pit location to allow for outdoor seating as set out in the plans attached as Exhibit 1, subject to the following conditions, which conditions shall be binding on the applicant, its successors, and/or assigns. 1, construction on the site shall be in accordance with all applicable building codes currently in effect in the City of Marlborough and according to the approved site plan permit SC 2021-7, 587 Bolton Street Tavern, applicant John Stenoris, 19 Westgate Road, Framingham, Mass. 01751, issued on October 18, 2021, expires on October 18, 2023. An associated site plan prepared by Ludwig Survey Solutions, LLC, 1498 White Pond Road, Athol, Mass. 01331, dated April 15, 2021, revised July 14, 2021, prepared for 587 Bolton Street, LLC, 19 Westgate Road, Framingham, Mass. 01701, attached herewith as Exhibit 1. 2, furtherance of the July 22, 2013 special permit. No patron shall be allowed in the use location, including the covered outdoor seating area with the bar, gazebo, sports area, and fire pit location allowed for outdoor restaurant seating, except between the following hours on the following days: Sunday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. The hours listed above shall be reviewed by the site plan review committee up to 1 year after the issuance of the certificate of occupancy for the extended outdoor seating and activities area. If the chief of police or pertinent ward councilor deem the hours listed above to be unacceptable, the hours of operation shall be subject to further review and revision by the city council. 3, all work performed on the site shall comply with this decision. No other buildings or construction or activity shall occur without further modification of this special permit. 4, the service of alcoholic drinks on the site, including the use location, shall be subject to prior approval by the Marlborough Licensing Board and the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission. 5, exterior lighting at the site shall be downward facing and shielded to minimize impacts on neighboring properties and shut off outside of operating hours except for security lighting. 6, the applicant shall comply with the Conservation Commission order of conditions approved on April 15, 2021. 7, additional planting and landscaping and ongoing maintenance around the gazebo and bar area are required to enhance the appearance of the new use location. The conservation officer shall approve the plantings and landscaping. This condition shall have a 2-year look back from the date of occupancy, allowing the conservation officer to require and approve additional plantings and landscaping as necessary to enhance the appearance of the new use location. 8, applicant shall install no smoking signs at all outdoor spaces where food and/or beverages are served to the public by employees. 9, all other conditions of the July 22, 2013 special permit approved by the City Council on July 22, 2013 shall remain in full force and effect and are incorporated herein by reference as part of this decision. 10, in accordance with the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 48, Section 11, the applicant and successors and/or signs at its expense shall record this special permit in the Middlesex South Registry of Deeds after the city clerk has certified that the 20-day period for appealing the special permit has elapsed and no appeal having been filed, and before the applicant has applied to the building commissioner for a building permit. Upon recording, the applicant shall forthwith provide a copy of the recorded special permit to the city council office, the building department, and the city solicitor's office. Thanks, sir. Nope, good.
All right, councilors, we heard the conditions of the special permit. Is there any further discussion on the conditions of the special permit? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just a Scrivener error on item 1. The first reference to 19 Westgate Road, Framingham, has the wrong zip code, 01701, not 51. So I want to make sure that got straightened out. Later on in the paragraph, it says 01, so they missed it. That's no worries.
Nice catch. Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Any other questions? Seeing none, on the motion to approve the special permit, special permits require a roll call vote. I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Ossing.
Yes.
Councilor Navin is absent. Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Yes.
Councilor Roby.
Yes.
Councilor Irish.
Yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Yes.
Councilor Orem.
Yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Yes.
Councilor Landers is absent. And Councilor Doucette.
Yes.
9 in favor, 2 absent.
The motion to approve the special permit is approved by a vote of 9 in favor, none opposed, 2 absent. Any other reports of committees? Nope. Moving on, agenda item number 19.
Ordered that the City Council vote to rescind Order Number 21-100-8473, the acceptance of the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund package in the amount of $11,835,814, submitted by Councilors Pearlman and Roby.
Who wants to talk? Councilor Pearlman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know if the city clerk can read the rest of the background information for the record as well before my comments. Thank you.
Could you read the rest of the background information?
Background, the mayor submitted a letter dated December 16, 2021, requesting the City Council approve the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, ARPA, FRF package for $11,835,814. The mayor's letter stated these funds can only be used for 4 broad purposes. 1, addressing the public health emergency and/or negative economic impacts. 2, investment in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure. 3, revenue loss due to the pandemic. And 4, premium pay for essential workers. The mayor's letter further states, quote, "It is our intent to use the large majority of these funds for investment in water and sewer projects," unquote. The City Council approved the grant request at the December 20th, 2021 City Council meeting with the understanding that the funds would be used for the water and sewer infrastructure projects as stated in the mayor's letter. The Department of the Treasury issued a final rule on how the CLFRF funds can be used in 2022 with an effective date of April 1st, 2022. One of the new provisions of the final rule is the ability to use the first $10 million of CLFRF funds for general, quote, general government services, unquote. The final rule lists some common examples of general government services, to include construction of schools and hospitals, road buildings and maintenance, and other infrastructure, health services, general government administration, staff and administrative facilities, environmental remediation, and provisions of police, fire, and other public safety services, including the purchase of fire and police vehicles. Based on the new provision of how to spend the CLFRF funds, the City Council should vote to rescind Order Number 21-100-8473. The mayor can then resubmit the $11,835,814 CLFRF grant, and the mayor and the City Council can have a collaborative discussion on how the funds can be used in accordance with the new guidance.
Seems clear. Council Perlman.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Clerk Kerrigan, for reading through the long background information, but I figured that was helpful. I just have a couple comments. I know Council Roby does as well. The information that we received at the earlier meeting, I was under the impression, as I'm sure others were, that there would be another opportunity for discussion about what the ARPA funds would be used for. Given the background information as well, the rules have kind of shifted and there's been more guidance, and I think it's important that the council has another opportunity, given how transformational this $11 million plus money is for the city of Marlborough. And I know specifically we are fortunate to have financial stability over the course of the pandemic, but even with that, it's really important that we have an eye towards an improved future in which residents are involved. And I know I welcome any constituent to reach out to me or other councilors about how they wish to see the funding be used. So I will be in favor of voting to rescind the grant approval. It's really important that the council has this opportunity. And as I said before, this federal funds are sort of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I would want to make sure that we have a say in where that funding goes. And so with that, I would like to see more discussion and engagement with the mayor. And that's not to say anything about what was proposed or what wasn't, but that dialogue should occur and the council should have that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Perlman. Council Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. The council received a letter from the mayor, which I guess he does not really want put into the record, but I'd be curious to see if somebody might want to have it read. It's an interesting response to this order. And I guess I would just simply point out that members of a body, elected or unelected, that meet and make a decision, sometimes realize that their decision was made in haste and needs to be thought over again, and Robert's Rules of Order provides a method to do that with a simple rescission. It's actually not simple. It requires more votes than normally. But interestingly enough, I believe the council's rules allow anybody to move to have a rescission, where Roberts requires it for only someone who voted in favor of something. But regardless, I think that with the information that was read to the council, that was put into this order, that we need to rethink how the ARPA money is being spent. And hopefully the mayor will agree with us and will send down a new order going through the list that he sent with some of the transfer information, and we can take a look at what he is recommending ARPA be spent on, what we might want to spend it on, what we might hear from our constituents, what they might like it to be spent on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Roby. Councilor Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. My thoughts on this is that I don't support it, and the reason being is that we approved the grant, and then I believe we have paid professionals in this city whose job it is to know like, what are the priorities in the DPW? What's going on with public safety? And that we heard from that, and we saw some excellent projects come our way that I fully support how this money is being spent. And from my perspective, it does fall under the criteria of how to spend the money. So my concern right now with this is I'm not sure. I'm concerned about the dynamic that's been coming up in several of the decisions, and that I respectfully suggest that what we do is recenter the people in this community, and having a conversation relative to having people in the community saying, I think this, and nobody has the expertise. We pay professionals, for instance, in the DPW, to know. I certainly can't speak to which streets need repairing, which sections of the water system needs to be repaired. That is not my job. We pay professionals to know that and to tell us, so that when the mayor says to his department heads, what are the priorities, he should get an answer from the paid professional experts. I personally don't feel I can add anything to that conversation, and I don't see this as necessary, so I will not be supporting it.
Thank you, Councilor Wagner. Councilor Oram.
Thank you, Mr. President. Back when we look at the Finance Committee meeting minutes, I asked the mayor under this order, after, Mr. President, you noted some interest charges for the water and sewer bond. And unfortunately, in my view, I didn't get the dialogue I was hoping to get. As it says right in the minutes, I got the word NO, and that's all I got. And that's the time in finance, the committee meetings, to try to get some dialogue. And I was concerned about that, because I thought, in all respects, your financial review on this made sense, and that it needed to be looked at again. So I'm in favor of sending this back for some dialogue. I think it's time we have dialogue. I was hoping the mayor would be here tonight. I don't believe he is. I don't see him. So with that said, I think we need to start having more dialogue, the city council and the mayor. Polite, decent dialogue. It's the best for the city. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Anyone else? Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. To start with, I just question how productive this is going to be to rescind these funds. As a ward councilor, we look forward, and we look at the larger picture. We look at the big picture. And we're constantly advocating with the mayor, his wonderful team, DPW, the list goes on, because we have a wonderful team in the city of Marlborough. I just question how productive this is going to be, sending these funds back. That's all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Irish. Anyone else? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I've been debating this quite a bit since I got the copy of this. I understand the situation as far as we agreed to give the mayor effectively carte blanche in spending the money. Okay, was I concerned at the time? Yes, I was. Did I voice my concern? No. And to some extent, I have voter's remorse. I'm not sure if that's an appropriate reason to rescind. Okay, I think it's important that we understand where the money's going, and we can have a conversation with the mayor effectively, how's the money been spent and how much is left? I mean, those are the two questions I have. And I don't think this order, the outcome in this order, after a lot of bickering and arguing, may be that. I just want to avoid the bickering and arguing and just get to the bottom of it and find out how much money's there and how much money, what was spent, what's left. The argument that came up in the Finance Committee meeting was, why didn't you use the funding for that? We're now second guessing, how much money's left and all that stuff too. And I'm not sure if that was, there was a vote against it, and I'm not sure if we're covering that tonight or not from the Finance Committee. But, I think it's important that we don't second guess our leadership team in the city, okay? And also, I think that when it comes to this is, this is definitely something that doesn't happen often. It's between 5 and 10% of the total city budget. So it's a big chunk of money. But I think it's important that, we need to make sure that we put the hooks in to begin with and not necessarily after the fact. That's my concern at this point. So I will not be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Roby, could I have you take the chair, please? Madam President.
Counselor Austin?
Thank you, Madam President. It all comes down to trust. We were told in December that the majority of this transfer would be used for water and sewer projects. The majority. So I guess my definition of majority is over $6 million. The transfer for the ARPA funds that the mayor laid out in his capital project list is just under $3 million for water and sewer projects. There's all sorts of other projects that are there that we should at least get a say in. You're going to tell me the departments are lined up that they're supporting a dog park, a hockey rink, a walk path around the Lake Williams? I mean, think hard about what you just said. I mean, I don't think that is really correct. You know, as Council Perlman stated, we should have a chance. We were told it was used for water and sewer. So all this does is say you can't spend it yet. Come on back down. Let's have that open discussion that everybody here wants to have in a collaborative manner, which I think would be dynamite. All right? Let's have that. All right? Otherwise, that money gets spent, you have no say in it. And if you think all the departments lined up with all that stuff, I guess I would ask you to think twice. But again, I get back to, we were told one thing in December. We get the package in November or in March, that is not what we were told. As councilors, you should be upset about that. All right? You know, collaboratively is, hey, the rules changed. I've now changed how I want to spend the money. Are you guys on board with this? That's not what's before you now. He's now can go spend it any way he wants if you don't rescind that grant. Rescinding the grant doesn't eliminate the use of the money. We can still use the money, but the mayor comes back and says, what do you want to spend it on? And hopefully we have a collaborative discussion that says we all agree with that we as a city move forward, not as a one person moves forward. Thank you, Madam Chair. Any further discussion? Council Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some of this, I'd like to just remind folks, we got the letter from the chief, the fire chief, and something that comes to mind is the fire truck. When the original money was being talked about, because I remember being part of those conversations before it even came to this, came to our city, where our state rep was asking about priorities, and I did bring up sewer, because that happens to be something in my ward. Water is certainly an issue. But there's also, once we actually had the money to think about things, so for instance, the fire truck, we'd since learned that there's a 2-year lead time for that. So that needs to be, it was put on future budgets, but it needs to be ordered now in order for that need to be met. So I take that into consideration. And as far as the, it is a bit of a windfall, like Councilor Perlman said, to keep that in mind. When are we going to get money like this? So putting in a few things that has to do with quality of life to our residents. When are we'll never get a bond to complete a walking trail around Lake Williams. We've talked about that for years. It would be a huge asset to this community. And the dog park and the hockey, the deck hockey, that's another thing, quality of life. There's residents that would really enjoy that, and this is a time where we could add something like this. We've got a lot of money on the table, and we could make that happen. And that we need to think of quality life with anything else. If you think about your home, you got to pay the bills and make sure the roof and everything is solid, but every once in a while you got to do something fun, because that's life, and that adds to this community. And if you think about anything that brings back warm memories and why we love this community, it's never, I just really appreciate that street was paved. It's the time we spend at the beach and all the fun things, all the fields, how many hours I've spent with my family on the well-maintained fields in this community. So that is a very important, integral part of this for me personally, and I think for our residents, and something to consider as we make this decision.
Thank you, Councilor Wagner. Councilor Perlman.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for the comments. I just want to point out a couple of things, particularly even on our own agenda, we are referring to committee less money than the ARPA money for discussion. So for example, in a finance committee meeting, we're going to be discussing item number 6 upcoming, which is less money than the $11+ million. So we do take seriously the amount of taxpayer dollars that are going to be moving within the city, so we should take it as seriously the federal funds that are coming in specifically. And I do hear the point about all of the expertise of our department heads, and I think that's the mayor's role to get that information. And our role is to hear from our constituents and be able to be elected members to represent the voices of the 40,000+ members of the city of Marlborough. So I think the meeting of the minds needs to happen, and having that perspective from the community with the expertise to have that discussion. I think that is so pivotal. And then, you know, it really is about the balance. I know I'm in favor of more public opportunities for feedback. Other communities have had public meetings to be able to gauge what the community wants, because oftentimes we all hear from residents different ideas that the city could improve. And I do agree with you, those parks and different aspects we have are so important to the livelihood of our community. And we should have that discussion in a public meeting space in the city council with the mayor and discuss it. And I think our city is better for it. Even if we come to, you know, some of the things staying and some of them changing, then we know that the residents know that, you know, $11+ million was being decided by this council with the mayor collectively. And I really do want to underscore the transformative nature of the funds. Just want to pull a quote from the Mass Budget and Policy Center around how this federal aid has a double function of helping to deal with current shortfalls and meeting our needs, and at the same time helping to create a different reality for our future. And I think the council deserves to be part of creating that reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Perlman. Councilor Orem.
Thank you, Mr. President. In respect to recreation, I agree with you 100%. I walk a lot now. I see you out bicycling, Mr. President, as well. And I know Council Landers isn't here to support that great idea about the walk around Lake Williams. But I look at this as still the need for the dialogue. We have a meals tax that helps with recreational facilities. That was going to be one of my questions. Did you consider the meals tax for this very important asset? And are there other important needs for recreation as well? And again, you can't have that without some dialogue, input. If the residents hopefully will read about this, they may want to have some more input. That's the way I see it. And we're doing it right now. I think this is great as a council that we're having this dialogue and opening our minds to different opportunities and advantages. And again, I will repeat again the importance of, if we have the money to spend through a grant versus going out for a bond, we're saving our residents money. And that's the way I see it. And our residents and all our visitors are helping to pay for our recreational facilities with that meals tax. So again, I foresee this as a different pathway that we could be taking. And I agree with Councilor Perlman. This is a lot of money, $11.8 million. We're not dealing with the $698,000 we're going to be talking about in finance. So this is a very large amount of money, and I think it needs everyone's input. And I think it's great we're all having dialogue right here on the floor. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Orem. Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't think any of us would have disagreed if the mayor was spending the $11.8 million on the 4 things that we were told he could spend them on. But when the rules changed and he got to spend it on, in his opinion, anything he wanted to, that's where I have a problem, and hopefully the rest of this council does. So we know exactly where this money's going. Of the 11.8, we got a list that listed $11,700,000 of ARPA expenses, which included the $2 million for the walk around the reservoir that already got mentioned, and $150,000 for the dog park, and $500,000 for deck hockey. Those 3 things, I certainly think we need to have a conversation about. Are those really needed, or do we need to use them for things that we're going to bond and pay for the next 20, 30 years? So my hope is this body will move to rescind this. We can start the conversation over again with the mayor and come to a decision on how this money is going to be spent collaboratively. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Roby. Anyone else? Any other councilors? On the motion to rescind the bond, all those in favor of rescinding the bond, please signify. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The chair makes 7. All those opposed? 1, 2. It is rescinded. The vote of 7-2. Are you ready?
I'm ready, sir. Sorry.
Agenda item number 20. No, you're good.
Order number 22-100, 8510A, the reappointment of John Eustace to the Disabilities Commission for a term of 3 years, effective from the date of council confirmation. Recommendation of the Personnel Committee is to approve.
Councilor Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve the appointment. All those in favor, or any discussion on the motion, sorry. Jumping the gun. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved, 9-0. Agenda item 21.
Order number 22-100, 8510B, the reappointment of Wayne Stanley to the Disabilities Commission for a term of 3 years, effective from the date of council confirmation. Recommendation of the Personnel Committee is to approve.
Councilor Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve the appointment. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Is approved, 9-0. Agenda item number 22.
Order number 22-100, 8514, the application for renewal of a taxi livery license from Katsunora Tanaka, DBA Global Limousine and Tour Service, to operate a livery service with one vehicle at 17 Eager Court.
Councilor Brown.
I move the recommendation of the Public Services Committee.
Motion made and seconded to move the recommendation of the Public Services Committee, which is to approve the license. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved, 9-0. Agenda item number, I'll let you turn the page.
That's all right. Thank you.
23.
Order number 22-100, 8515, the application for a taxi livery license from Josiah Echekwu, DBA ROA Health System, to operate a livery service with 2 vehicles at 43 Bowstring Way.
Councilor Brown.
I move the recommendation of the Public Services Committee.
Motion made and seconded to move the recommendation of the Public Service Committee, which is to approve the license. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved, 9-0. Agenda item number 24.
Order number 22-100, 8537A, communication from Mayor Vigent with proposed amendment to the Code of the City of Marlborough, Chapter 510 Sewers, Section 2D, Use of Public Sewers. The recommendation of the Public Services Committee is to approve.
Councilor Brown.
I move the recommendation of the Public Services Committee.
Motion made and seconded to move the recommendation of the Public Services Committee, which is to approve the ordinance change. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, since this is an ordinance change, it does have to go through the 4 stages. So all those in favor of suspending the first reading and approving the second reading, please signify. Records reflect that's 9-0. All those in favor of the passage to be enrolled, please signify. Again, 9-0. All those in favor of the passage to be ordained, all those please signify. Again, 9-0. Is there any objection to passage in one evening? Seeing none, the ordinance change is approved. Agenda item number 25.
Order number 22-100, 8538A, the appointment of Catherine Eustace to the Disabilities Commission for a term of 3 years, effective from the date of council confirmation. And on a motion by Chair Dumas and seconded, the appointment of Catherine Eustace to the Disabilities Commission for a term of 3 years, effective from the date of council confirmation, was removed from the Personnel Committee for action by the City Council on April 25th, 2022, together with the reappointments of John Eustace and Wayne Stanley.
Councilor Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve the appointment. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The appointment is approved, 9-0. And now we go back to agenda item number 13. Councilor Roby, you want to make a motion?
Thank you. I move that we go into executive session, have the city clerk read the order.
I'll have the city clerk read the order, and it is a roll call vote to go into executive session.
Move that the Marlborough City Council meet in executive session under Purpose 3 of the Open Meeting Law, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body regarding the pending matter, WP Marlborough Mass Owner LLC versus the Marlborough City Council. As the chair hereby declares that discussion in an open session may have a detrimental effect on the city and the city council's litigating position. The city council will not reconvene in open session after the executive session.
Again, there's been a motion made to go into executive session. I will have the clerk read the roll, or call the roll.
Councilor Perlman.
Yes.
Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Councilor Roby.
Yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Yes.
Councilor Navin is absent. Councilor Landers is absent. Councilor Dumas.
Yes.
Councilor Oram.
Yes.
And Councilor Irish.
Yes.
9 in favor, 2 absent, sir.
So the motion to go into executive session is approved, 9 in favor, none opposed, 2 absent. We will not be reconvening, so we will be adjourning the city council meeting at, I'll wait for the 16 seconds, 8:59. So you want to make a motion to adjourn the city council meeting?
I would love to. Motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn, and we'll then follow that by going into executive session. All those in favor of adjourning? Opposed? We are adjourned at 9 o'clock. See how I did that? Got to get to 9 o'clock.